Hey Joe, can you hear me? Good morning, Matthew. How are you, mate? You good? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, please, Matthew. Just use the reactions at the top of the screen, mate. Or type me a message to say yes. Thank you, good sir. How are we today? We good? Hey, Barclay, how are you? Just type in there for me, please, mate. I've got the everybody's muted, so you can either give me a reaction or type back to me. We'll go from there. So, Matt's. It was a long presentation, Matthew. Hope you got a bit of stuff out of it, though. To be fair, it's they can be. Having been on the other end of those, it's definitely one of those ones you can be a little bit worn out by. That's for sure. Hey guys, how are we going? Give me a wave or a reaction. Just let me know that you can hear me okay, please. Thank you, Luke. Hopefully we're good this morning. Matthew was just telling me it was a very long session. I'm taking it everybody else feels the same way about that one. Just can you guys do me a favor? Just type in the chat for me and let me know what PSA you're using. Are you actually using Autotask or are you using something else for your ticketing? Cool. Yeah, awesome stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. I'm hoping the majority of people are going to be using Autotask, but you never know. There's always a few out there that have add RMM and another session, I suppose, or another PSA from that point of view. Oh, okay, cool. So you're looking to switch to Autotask? Yeah, cool. Yep. So I used to, I'll do my spiel later on, but I actually used to work for Autotask and Datto. So I've got about 10 years experience of Autotask under my belt. So that's where my background is anyway. And then coming across into this side of things for the service delivery was my speciality. So yeah, hopefully be able to give you guys some good looks into things today. You guys heavily use Teams, I'm thinking, which is probably why you're in here as well, right? So yep, yeah, I thought so. Okay, so the RMM side of it, the RMM is actually really good. It's a different way of looking at RMMs though. So most RMMs you set up the monitors yourself. This RMM, most RMMs work from the bottom up. This actually works from the top down. So it takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you're used to it, it's an awesome little product. I wonder if I can let you guys see the sunrise this morning. See the sunrise from New Zealand. No, not quite yet. It's still a little bit dark. But yeah, it's kind of an interesting one, the RMM side of it. I was a Datto RMM specialist. So service desk and PSA and RMM were my two specialist subjects. So I kind of have a soft spot for it. I was used to using things like SolarWinds and Nagios and all that sort of stuff, HPC, etc. But actually, the way the RMM side of things is structured is actually pretty cool, and there's good structure behind it, and a lot of components and stuff you can download as well, which makes life a hell of a lot easier when you're starting to set up your policies and things like that. I mean, the guys in here will give you some talk, and you guys can chat amongst yourselves in the chat if you want to do that whilst we're waiting to start the session. But I'd be keen to hear their thoughts on it as well. I don't have to push it now because I don't work for them, if that makes sense. But I still, it's one of the reasons. But I still like the product. So is everybody here from the US, or where are we talking from, guys? UK, US, yeah, cool, good stuff. And Germany, cool. Let's find out what's going on with the lobby side of things. Please bear with me one second, guys. Okay, I'm gonna kick off because we're still waiting for people to come in, but I know that you guys have got a set amount of time, right? So why don't I kick off and we'll go from there. And if there are any questions or anything like that, feel free to put your hands up, drop it in the chat for me as well, and let me know if there's any questions as we go on. So just one more time, obviously I've heard from Luke, and Luke says that he's a big Teams user. The rest of the guys out there, so Barkley, Matthew, and Carlos, are you guys using Teams heavily as well? Just type that back in the meeting chat for me, or give me a thumbs up reaction to it. Yeah, cool. Obviously, this is one of the reasons you've come into this session, is to have a look. So Barkley says only when he has to. Okay, maybe I'll change your mind on that one then. So welcome along, guys. My name's Dave Watson. I am the head of partner success for Tribu. I'm here today just to go through our Talos AI, I suppose, and give you an insight into that and how that works. So as I said to you guys earlier on, I've got about 10 years of Autotask experience under my belt. I'm a tech through and through, I suppose, from that point of view, up until maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I've been everywhere from a systems engineer, network operations, all the way down to service desk level 1, entry level tech, which is where I started my career. I joined Tribu about 2 weeks ago, believe it or not. So I'm kind of fresh off the boat, if you like, into this role. But obviously, I've got 10 years of Autotask experience under my belt, so that allows me to, I suppose, bring some good views from service delivery and all that sort of stuff into the Tribu side of things. So what I want to do is tell you about Talos and show you Talos working and seeing what you guys think, or if there's any questions and things around that, then I'm sure you guys will let me know as we go through. So first of all, what's Talos? Talos is our AI, basically. It's an AI that looks at what customers are saying and responses, et cetera, and will make suggestions about responses back, and then even automatically go back with those responses if we need to as well. Talos sits between Autotask and Teams. The really cool thing of this, and I didn't believe it until I saw it, was you didn't actually have to log into Autotask to create tickets, believe it or not, and reply to tickets and all that sort of stuff. You can do that through the AI itself. Talos works basically with workflow rules, and it does. So when you trigger off a workflow rule inside the PSA, for whatever reason it's going to be, and we can work alongside you with those ones, it then fires off a remote procedure and calls up Talos, and Talos does the cool stuff, if you like, from behind that. We've got a whole heap of documents online to let you go through the onboarding. You can either go through the onboarding yourself, do it on your own, and come to us and ask us questions from the tech channel that we've got set up inside Teams that we invite you to, or we can give you some sessions between the two, and actually talk you through them as you go through as well, which is pretty cool from that side of things. So I'm going to basically run you through Talos and what it is and how it works. If there are any questions or anything like that, feel free just to give me a chat in the window, put your hand up, something like that, and we'll come through to you from there. Couple of caveats I have to go through with regards to the demo first and foremost. So obviously I've got this set up in my system. How you guys set it up would be an install on 365. That would actually install the AI itself. And then from there, we'd have to set up an Autotask API user, which I'm fairly certain if you guys are using RMM, for those of you that are using the RMM product, you've already got one of those set up, so you've been through that before. We basically set up an API user, firing those details into Talos, and then we set up the workflow rules that work alongside Talos, the AI itself. In my system, as I said, I've got it set up. I've got a couple of things like first responders set up. So all of the commands for Talos will start with an exclamation mark and then whatever that thing is. So the reason I'm telling you about first responders is because when you see the system working, I'm getting alerts coming up when tickets are assigned to me and all that sort of thing, and that's because I'm a first responder. It's one of the things that we set up. So if you've got someone looking after your triage, for example, or a service delivery manager or a dispatcher, they would be our first responders. They would get alerted to any new tickets that came in, either from the client portal or from techs that have created the tickets or emails and things like that. We can absolutely, send an at mention to you inside the Teams. So if you're a first responder, automatically when a ticket is created and Talos goes through, it will then give you an at response, an at mention inside the activity channel or your activity channel that from there and go from there. The other things that I've got set up, I'll go through as we start to go through into the demonstration itself. So what I want to show you first is Talos itself and what the chat channel looks like. So as you guys can see here, this is just a standard, normal, everyday chat channel that we have inside Teams. Yeah. So I've been playing around with this already, as you can imagine, from a demoing point of view. I've got a few conversations going on inside this. So there's two ways that we work. There's the proactive and there's the reactive. Okay. Reactive would be me creating a ticket. So inside Talos, I would go exclamation mark, and then you've got all these details down here. So I could do new ticket just as and then type in the first part of the company name, press enter. And then it will then create you a new ticket dialog box inside the engine itself. All right, we'll just leave this one here just for a sec. The other way that you'll create tickets is customer generated tickets. So from inside a customer client portal, for example. All right, so a customer will do the same thing. They'll create a ticket, fill in the details through here, and then that will come through into your support desk. Does anybody use the client portal? Give me a meeting chat if anybody's using the client portal, or give me a thumbs up or something like that. Yeah, awesome. Cool. Yep, a couple of you, good stuff. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to turn around and give it a title, and we'll call it. Let's go from here. Right, everybody knows the film that we're talking about here. Yeah. And going from there. Carlos, if customers prefer calling, just give me 1 second. I'll show you the proactive stuff in a second, okay? Well, sorry, rather than the reactive things that we're doing at the minute. So there's 2 ways we can do that. I'll be able to show you that side of things in just a second as well. All right. So we give it a service provider priority. Hopefully I've given it enough details in there. We'll go save and view. All right. So we've created a ticket inside the client portal. Okay. Now, if we give it just a couple of secs, we'll be able to have that request come through. There we go. So that's Autotask has been a bit slow this morning. Maybe it's 6 a.m. for that one as well. Cool. So that's our ticket just gone off and got created. So what we do now is basically we wait for Talos to pick that up. One of the things that we were talking to just then was Carlos, you asked about customers phoning up rather than using the client portal, right? So that would actually be the reactive stuff that we've got, right? So I'd be able to turn around and create a ticket from within inside Talos here. So I'd go, the ticket title is going to be, I don't know, new ticket. Getting the ideas from here, then give it a description, give it a work type, all the sort of stuff that you would need to create a ticket by default inside the PSA. Yeah, we'll give it a work type of on-site billable. Actually, we'll go on-site non-billable just to make sure I don't have anything coming through. Who's the contact going to be? Is there a priority? What's the due date? All that sort of stuff from there. You can actually assign people from here as well. So if you wanted to assign that ticket to yourself, you could. I'm not going to do that, however. I'm just going to go ahead and create that ticket. So again, there's just going to be a little conversation that goes backwards and forwards. Everything going as good as it should. Tells me the tickets has been created. Can you guys see that I haven't even logged into Autotask to do that though, right? That's the main thing here. It's one of the big things about this. Who uses Teams on their mobile phone? Anybody? Yeah. Who use? All right. I'm going to ask you a really silly question here. Who uses the Autotask app on their phone? No one, because we all know it's not that good, right? So here's an opportunity for you to create tickets from your phones. Actually, very, very simply. Nice and easy from here. Just fire up Teams, create a ticket, follow the process, and away you go from there. All right. So if all's going according to plan, then we should be having app mentions inside the channel from Talos to tell us that we've actually got new tickets that have come in. And lo and behold, there we go. Can you guys see that? So here's Carlos's ticket. So this is the one that we put through. And this is the one that we created from the client, from the ticket itself, from the client portal. Any questions with what you guys have just seen? Or is anybody thinking that's going to make life a little bit easier already or not? Give me some comments, give me some reactions. What do you think? Yes. So Luke, kind of. We'll have to have a conversation with that offline. I think that's a bigger conversation around it. We've got things like actions. So we have got the actions here, so we can actually have actions appear up the top up here. So there is a potential there to have things like live links up there, but I'd have to have that conversation with the developers to see what we can actually do from here. All right, I'm just going to have a look here, so you guys can see I've been mentioned. All the details are on there. All right. So if I go, okay, let's have a look, and we want to assign this ticket. Okay, so I'm just going to actually, before I click that assign ticket, I'm going to add notes. Does what it says on the tin. I can add a note into the ticket directly from here. Yeah, I can schedule the ticket, so it will actually go to the dispatch calendar and find a link for you, or find a time that works. I can also then open the ticket too. And then the actions button, as I said, is kind of like the three buttons that we can have. So in this particular instance, I've got them set up as spam, newsletter, and notification. So I can notify the account manager. I can mark it as spam, whereas I can mark it as a newsletter. But we can play around with those and have all sorts of links available in there for you to actually show up there. But I'm going to go and I'm going to click on assign, and I'm going to assign it. So you can see the actual functions around here. Yeah, it will then turn around and say, okay, you're going to assign who you're going to assign the ticket to, and then you would click on the resource, and that would assign the ticket itself. All right, I'm going to click on, oops, I didn't select an option, that's why. Select on ticket, and it will assign the ticket and go from there. Okay, so if customers, for example, were going to respond back to tickets, so in here, just give me 1 sec. Where's my other task gone? You can, in here, for example, we can have a look at the tickets. We can click on the ticket, open the ticket up. Customers, again, are going to be putting notes and all sorts of stuff in here. So if we go to this ticket here, for example, Sarah can then turn in and put a note in here. Submit that, and again Talos will pick that up and mention you as that ticket comes through. So, any questions around what I've gone through so far whilst we're just waiting for Talos just to mention the app as we go through? Any other questions at all? We have GDPR clauses added into the agreements that we've got, Luke. It's a big thing for us. I can obviously understanding what's going on over there at this precise minute in time with regards to that. So yeah, happy to talk to you around that if you need to go any further forward with regards to that. So yeah, so here we go. So this is the bot. Obviously, this is what's coming back. The cool thing with this is we can actually turn around and say, give it feedback. So this was probably doesn't understand what's actually gone on here, but I can turn around and say if it's correct, if it's wrong, and I can still assign the ticket as well if I want to. I can add my notes. I can still do my schedules and my time entry, all from within the Teams window, I suppose, if you like, and going from there. So this is what it basically looks like with regards to it. As you guys can see, it's purely a conversation inside Teams with Talos. Updating your tickets, creating your new tickets, all that sort of stuff. Some of the really funky features that we have, for example, a couple of the things that I like, for example, is setting away. So if I go set away here, just as an example. So what set away is, texts are away. For example, if your text might be on holiday or your tech phone's up ill, that sort of thing, you usually have to go and reassign autotask tickets, right? We're not going to do that here. What we would do is we would say set away. We'd give them the email address of of what person is away. So if I go Dean at Tribu AI, and I put my address in there, what that actually does is that sets Dean to away. any app mentions that come in for Dean will automatically get sent to me. So I don't have to go and reassign tickets for customers. I can just do set away, who's away, who the alerts are going to. All the app mentions for that time will then go to that tech. Does that make sense? Other things that we've got, we can give you a list of commands by just going !! commands, and we break it down into two areas. We'll give you the managerial type commands, and we'll also give you the everyday actions from those points of views. Okay. As I said, on our website, we've got a full list of all the commands that you can actually use and move through from there. But it's really about, I suppose it's really about that flow and keeping that flow inside your system, using the power of Autotask and its workflow rules alongside the power of Teams, and being able to have that service delivery flow be as smooth as possible, if you like. So being able to alert the service delivery managers by Teams rather than relying on Autotask dashboards or ticket queues and that sort of thing. We're always going through. We've also got a customer facing AI too. So if you really wanted to, we can interact directly with end users, and end users will be able to create tickets and send information and send updates and all that sort of stuff from that side of things as well. Is there any questions that any other questions that you guys have around there, or is there anything else that you were hoping to see from this? There's only 4 of you, so there are 3 of you now. So that actually went quite quickly, a lot quicker than I thought it was going to be fair. Usually I have a bit more people in the lobby and a little bit more interaction. So feel free to jump in and ask any other questions that you've got. Awesome. Thank you very much, Carlos. Barclay's still typing. Carlos, do you think it's something that you would use, having seen what I've shown you so far? Yeah. Cool. I've got your contact details, Carlos. I'll send out a conversation from there, and see if we can move on from there. So Barclay, you've seen the customer interaction more important than the engineers one. Yeah, that's fair enough. So obviously there are the 3 main types of ticket creation that everybody has, right? So you've got your emails, you've got your phone calls, and you've got your client portal. So with that customer interaction, are they phoning, or are they emailing, or are they using CP? Which is it one of those 3, or which one of those 3 has the heavier workload? Should I ask actually? How does that sound? Phone and email. Yeah. So actually, I would see, Carlos, you would probably use both of them, right? You would probably use the reactive and yeah. So you'd actually use both. So if they live in Autotask, Barclay, then fair enough. That's cool. If they live in Autotask and they're happy creating tickets, I just know that sometimes that ticket creation process inside the PSA can be a bit cumbersome, I suppose, from that point of view. Do you guys have triage? Are you guys using a triage function? Do you have a dispatch person, or does it go straight into your tech queues, the level 1 tech queues? No triage. Cool. Okay, that's fine. So they're straight into. Okay, so Carlos is basically everything stops by you. So that's all good. Yeah, and Luke does triage as well. Cool. So you can look at your triage queue. One of the good things around this, as I said, is the app mentions. So for Luke, for example, if you're using triage, you could, set first responders and fire that message off, as well as looking in the PSA itself and having through the have that function pull up. Triage is always a good idea if your desk is big enough, obviously. It's usually, I had it in my desk. My desk was about 5. Last desk was about 5 engineers, but I have had a 50 desk engineer pod, and I've also had another 10 engineer pod, and all of those had triage. The reason being is fix it in 5, fix it in 15, whatever you're going to do. One of the things that we want to do is use the AI even more. So we did a survey of like 1,000 MSPs worldwide. I think it was about a little bit more than that, and asked them, what's the most. Well, let me ask you guys, what's the number one question you guys get coming through from customers? What are we talking? Password changes, or file permissions, disk cleanups, all that sort of stuff? Would you guys agree with that or not? Password changes, yeah. Luke, what about you? What do you think? What's the number one you come up? Yeah. So one of the really cool things that Talos can do is, obviously you guys have seen me interacting with Talos and the customer interacting with Talos. Take the addition into that. So as I said, we went off. So Tribu went off and sat down with 1,000 MSPs and said, right, hey guys, what issues do you have? What's the biggest ones coming up? And yeah, you're right. Things like password changes, things like disk space, things like file permissions, etc., etc. Let me ask you a question. Can password changes be scripted? Can you script a password change for a customer that will change their password and then email them or text them out the new password? Yeah, with the star next to it, right? Providing there's other things set up in the back end of it, but you get the idea, right? So yeah, yes, you can. So with Talos, we could, and the way that we're looking, the development side of it that we're going down is, let's take that password one, for example. The customer emails in, Talos picks up the fact that they need their password changed. Talos will then go do a remote call to say, RMM, run your script, send those details to the customer. It's opened a ticket, it's responded to a ticket, it's closed the ticket in your help desk for you and fixed your problem for you. Yeah, it's taking those everyday mundane tasks away from the engineer. That's where we want to go with this product. Okay, that's on the list, I suppose. We're looking for that to start that moving up pretty quick. To be fair, the product development for this is just crazy. As I said, over the past couple of weeks of me being on, we've launched customer-facing portal. We've started to look into that side of automation and using it that way as well. By the end of the year, hopefully that sort of thing will be able to take off and push through. That's where we're going with this. That's exactly what we want to do. We want to take all those everyday mundane tasks away from your engineers, let Talos deal with those so your engineers can concentrate on the stuff that makes you money. Let's be honest. Yeah, it's the stuff that they really want to get into. Those engineers that are doing day-to-day mundane password resets, disk shares, all that sort of stuff, they don't want to be doing that for the rest of their lives. They want to get into the really beefy stuff. You will also help with customer staff retention if you're able to take the little mundane stuff away from them and give them the beefy stuff and let them get their teeth into it and hone their skills and all that sort of stuff. That's where we see the huge power of Talos moving to as well. It's not just ticket creation. It's about automation and making the service delivery side of things a whole lot easier for you. Does that make sense, guys? So Luke, we can it's kind of an interesting one. So at the minute, Talos is for everybody. It's a generic product, all right? So we can't really rebrand it individually from the Microsoft Store. We may be able to do something as a download and an install separately from the store itself. It's certainly something I'd have to speak to my developers around. So I'm not going to say yes to that at this precise minute in time, but it may well be something we're able to do as we start to go through. And yeah, Barclay, look, you're right. There has to be, but we'll be relying on things like RMMs to do that. Yeah. So we'll take a password change, but from Talos's point of view, all Talos would be doing would be talking to your RMM and getting your RMM to run a job. So at the end of the day, if you've got that set up already and we can hook into that RMM automation, away we go from there. Does that make sense? Yeah. So again, if it comes down to security level inside the business as well, right? So if Teams as a whole is hacked, I think a lot like Microsoft will have a lot more to worry about, if that makes sense. Teams inside the businesses and things like that, yeah, we'd have to have a look at security. But again, you know, somebody who's got a really good security procedure and policy in place won't have the issues around that side of things. But certainly ticket creation and things like that at this precise minute in time, I see those as magic. I see those as absolute magic in there, and having that taken away from the, I suppose having it made easier for an engineer to create tickets and assign tickets and all that sort of stuff, without going into the everyday side of PSA usage, if that makes sense. Even just from an apps point of view. And being able to respond to customers directly, et cetera, from within Teams. Any other questions around that, guys? Anything else you want me to cover off? So our pricing structure starts at $59, I believe. That's for our first 100 customers. That's called our foundation. So it's $59 for the 500 individual interactions, or 500 individual interactions with Talos. So that's the details from there. So no, actually, it's a very good question, Luke. So no, they can do time entries from in here as well. Exclamation mark time entry. So what it would actually do, I can do that from here. So if I do time entry, so you can see all the things that we can actually do in here. We can see ticket lists as well. So whoops, hang on, I just realized. Let's do this. Here you go, that better. Can you guys see my screen now? Yeah, so you can see here, I can do my time entries. All right, so here's my details. Move this out of the way. What ticket? So it's what ticket do I want to put the time into? What's the summary notes? I've got my start time, I've got my end time, I've got my internal notes as well, which is, you know, the one where we put notes about customers we don't want the customer to see, if that makes sense. Work types, all that sort of stuff are all done from within here as well. So it really is kind of it's not just about adding notes. We've also got attachments. We've got the ticket list. So if I do my ticket list, it will show me all the tickets that I have assigned to me. All that sort of really cool stuff that we do on a day-to-day basis. Does that make sense? Is this making a little bit more sense with you now that you can see that, hey, look, this is all the types of different interactions that we can actually do with this product. It's not just, you know, it's not just about ticket creation and note entry. We can do time entries, we can do ticket lists, big picture. We'll be able to automate password changes and those mundane jobs, everyday jobs that the engineers don't like to do, but we all know have to be done. That's our aim. That's what we want to do, and hopefully by the end of this year, we'll see that push come through and be able to start to use that. And obviously, with the customer-facing stuff, that's a self-service portal from a customer's point of view. Any other questions, guys? Anything there with regards to anything else you want to see, or what I can do is we can book in a proper demonstration session, or we can book in an onboarding session from there as well. But I'm happy to take you guys through individually as well if you want to, and have a bit more of a conversation around that side of things. No worries at all. Thank you very much, Carlos. Yeah, I'll make a note of that now. And I'll send you the GDPR stuff, Luke, and we'll go from there. If you want to book in a session with me as well, feel free to do that, and we'll go from there. Okay, let me clarify that side of things, and we can go from there. Book if you want to book in a demo with me for say next week or the week after. I know it's a demo session, but we'll just use it as a meet if you want, Luke, and we'll have a discussion around that if we need to, mate. How does that sound? Cool stuff. All right. Any other questions, Barclay, Luke, Carlos? Everybody's good? No worries at all. Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen, for your attention this morning, I suppose, or this morning for me anyway. Hopefully, I'll let you go away and enjoy the rest of your tech day, and we'll go from there, eh? Thanks, gents. See you soon. Thank you, Carlos. No worries at all. Talk soon, Luke. Yeah, we'll speak soon, mate. Definitely. Bye, Carlos. Mm. Just